هسكر حلقة. Wait, we will enter after. We will enter after. Wait. Please, صحافي. تاني من تحت.
Laudetur Jesus Christus. Praised be Jesus Christ. A very warm welcome to this live broadcast of Pope Leo XIV's address to authorities, members of civil society and of the diplomatic corps here in Lebanon. Pope Leo landed just a couple of hours ago, kicking off what is the second leg of his very first apostolic journey abroad. He left Rome on the 27th of November and landed in Turkey, where he spent a few days, and from where he left this morning, arriving in Lebanon. And he will leave Lebanon for Rome on Tuesday, the 2nd of December. But before getting into the details of his trip, of what he's doing, what he's done, and of course what he will do, I would just like to take a moment to welcome all of you who are joining us. And you may be joining us through our designated Vatican media website, YouTube channel, Facebook page, through any of our social media accounts. And a very warm welcome also goes to all of you who are joining us through our partner stations, and among these are EWTN TV, Catholic Faith Network in America, Salt and Light Television, Shalom World Television, at Madarshan Television, and Catholic Television. So we are currently in the presidential palace in Beirut, the Lebanese capital, where Pope Leo will shortly be addressing the authorities, representatives of civil society and the diplomatic corps. We will hear an address from the Holy Father, and we will also hear an address from the President of Lebanon, Joseph Aoun. So Pope Leo is in Lebanon, and the land of cedars, as it is known, is welcoming a pope for the first time in 13 years. Beirut is about 100 kilometers from Damascus, the capital of Syria, and it is at a very similar distance from northern Israel, which of course already reveals something of the context and importance of this second stage of Pope Leo's apostolic journey. While of course the focus in Turkey was on ecumenism, especially when we look back to the Pope's pilgrimage to Iznik for the 1700th anniversary of the First Council of Nicaea. But the central theme in Beirut is peace, and that is expressed in the motto of the visit, which is "Blessed are the peacemakers." As I'm sure you know, Lebanon is facing one of the worst economic crises in modern history, with inflation and a dramatic devaluation of the local currency. And basic services are lacking, with frequent power outages and shortages of medicine and fuel. And of course, added to this are the presence in the country of approximately 2 million refugees, including Syrians and Palestinians, intensifying, of course, the social tensions. So a lot to think about as Pope Leo begins this journey, and we are about to hear from
Good evening and welcome to Lebanon.
the President.
قداسة البابا لون الرابع عشر بفرح عظيم أرحب بكم رسول سلام في وطن السلام بشرف عظيم وباسم الشعب اللبناني بكل مكوناته وطوائفه وانتماءاته أرحب بكم.
Your Holiness, with the deepest sense of joy, I welcome you, Holy Father, Messenger of Peace, to the land of peace. In the name of the Lebanese people, in all their communities and callings, I welcome you to our homeland, smaller in its size, yet vast in its message. Lebanon, which unites faith and freedom, diversity and unity, and hardship and hope.
إنكم لا تزورون بلدا عاديا.
Your Holiness, you are not visiting an ordinary country, but a country encompassing layers of sacred history. Lebanon's name, which has been mentioned several times in the holy books as a symbol of height, endurance and sanctity, and which the Song of Songs depicted its mountains and forests as symbols of beauty, magnificence and purity, became a witness to God's greatness in creation and a testament to our sacred history. With great honor and deep humility, I welcome you, Holy Father, to the land of the Canaanite woman who sought healing for her daughter and to whom Jesus said, "Woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish." Our people, Holy Father, embody this Canaanite woman today. Our faith is great, and our hope is to heal the minds, the hearts, and the souls from hatred, wars, and destruction. Welcome, Your Holiness, to a land guarded by Mother Mary, and dedicated to her name from the far north to the far south, and between them, next to Sidon, lies the shrine of Our Lady of Mantara, where Mary awaited her son Jesus. Lebanon's devotion to her is such that her Annunciation Day became a national day celebrated by all communities in a celebration unmatched anywhere else in the world. Welcome to the land where the water of the Hasbani River flows into the Jordan River, where Jesus was baptized. Lebanon is not merely a historic land. It is a country of great saints, amongst whom is Saint Charbel, whose holy shrine you will be visiting. God endowed him with many graces, and his miracles reached far beyond our borders without distinction in faith or religion. thereby embodying the unity of the Lebanese people and the deepness of their faith. This is the Lebanon that welcomes Your Holiness today. This Lebanon that was conceived in freedom and for freedom, not for any caste, religion or community. The land of freedom for every human being and dignity of every human being. A country unique in its regime, where Christians and Muslims are different in beliefs but equal in rights. Under a constitution founded on equality between them and on openness to every person and every free conscience. This is the uniqueness of Lebanon and his call to the world. Therefore, there is indeed a fundamental human duty in preserving Lebanon. For if this model of equal and free existence between people of different beliefs fails, nowhere else can this model be replicated. This was the message I delivered at the General Assembly in New York, and I reiterate here in Beirut today. If Christians in Lebanon were to disappear, the delicate balance would collapse, and with it justice. Similarly, any harm to the Muslim community in Lebanon would also destabilize the equation and undermine justice as well. The fall of Lebanon, precipitated by the loss of any of its integral components, would foster the rise of extremism, violence and bloodshed both in our region and in the world.
ولهذا رفع قداسة بولس السادس صوته باكرا دفاعا عن وحدة لبنان.
This is what the Holy See has always known, and this is why Pope Paul VI raised his voice early on in defense of Lebanon's unity and sovereignty. Just as Pope St. John Paul II immortalized Lebanon in the world's collective memory with his historic statement, Lebanon is more than a country. It is a message of coexistence, pluralism, and freedom for East and West, before dedicating, in an exceptional precedent, a general synod to a single country, Lebanon.
بأن وجود المسيحية الحرة في لبنان شرط لاستمرارها وازدهارها في كل منطقتنا. ونحن نجزم اليوم بأن بقاء هذا اللبنان الحاضر كله الآن من حولكم هو شرط لقيام السلام والأمل والمصالحة بين أبناء إبراهيم كافة.
He who said some 40 years ago that the presence of free Christianity in Lebanon is a condition for its endurance and sustainability in the region. Today we confirm to Your Holiness the survival of the Lebanon you see around you is necessary for the establishment of peace, hope and reconciliation between all the sons of Abraham. Similarly, Pope Benedict XVI, messenger of love and wisdom, declared from Beirut that the future of the Orient can only be envisioned through partnership, pluralism and mutual respect, and in a very symbolic gesture announced the apostolic exhortation for the Middle East from Lebanon. We welcome Your Holiness today as the fourth successor of Peter to visit our homeland, with a gesture no less eloquent in message and significance, as you have honored Lebanon by choosing it as your first papal visit outside the Vatican. You came directly from Nicaea, from the land of the Nicene Creed on its 1700th anniversary, to assert your faith in us and to renew with us our faith in humanity. You came to the land of churches that you described as a martyred land, to plant hope so we can bear witness to the resurrection. Holy Father, you came to us so we can read in your radiant face the wonderful words of your apostolic exhortation, so that when we touch the wounds of the oppressed, it is as we have touched the wounds of Christ himself. And in our land today, as in our region, there is much oppression and many oppressed people. Their wounds await your blessed hand and yearn to hear your great and courageous voice. Holy Father, we implore you to tell the world that we shall not die, nor leave, nor despair, nor surrender. We will stay here, breathe freedom, invent joy, perfect love, cherish innovation, embrace modernity, and create every day a life worth living. We urge you to tell the world that we shall remain the only place of dialogue in our region, and I dare say in the whole world, where this community can rally behind the successor of Peter as united representatives of all the sons of Abraham, with all their convictions, their sacred values, and their common beliefs.
وأكاد أقول في العالم كله حيث يمكن لهذا الجمع أن يلتقي حول خليفة القديس بطرس ممثلين متفقين لكل أبناء إبراهيم بكل معتقداتهم ومقدساتهم ومشتركاتهم فما يجمعه لبنان لا يسع.
For what Lebanon brings together, the world itself cannot contain. And what Lebanon unites, no force can divide. Only with this equation can Lebanon be at peace in this region, and this region can be at peace with the world. Until the parties concerned hear us and are convinced, fear shall not find its way to our hearts. For through your prayers and supplications, and through our firm belief in our rights and our homeland, we will stay steadfast, children of hope and resurrection. We will remain here, the beacon of light of the East, the salt of its earth, the messengers of love and goodness for all peoples. From the beginning of time, we remain the disciples of the one who told us not to fear, but to trust in him. For through his love and peace, he conquered the world. We bear witness to this and work to achieve it. Long live love, long live peace, long live your holiness, long live Lebanon. And we will now hear from Pope Leo.
Mr. President, distinguished civil and religious authorities, members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, blessed are the peacemakers. It is a great joy for me to meet with you and to visit this land where peace is much more than just a word. For here, peace is a desire and a vocation. It is a gift and a work in progress. You are invested with authority in this country, each in your own area and with specific roles. It is in light of this authority that I wish to address to you the words of Jesus that have been chosen as the central theme of my journey. Blessed are the peacemakers. Certainly, there are millions of Lebanese here and throughout the world who serve peace silently day after day. Yet you who have important institutional tasks within this nation are destined for a special beatitude if you can say that you have put the goal of peace above all else. In this meeting, I would like to reflect with you a little on what it means to be peacemakers in circumstances that are highly complex, conflictual, and uncertain. In addition to Lebanon's natural beauty and cultural riches, which have been praised by those of my predecessors who visited your country, there is a shining quality that distinguishes the Lebanese. You are a people who do not give up, but in the face of trials, you always know how to rise again with courage. Your resilience is an essential characteristic of authentic peacemakers. For the work of peace is indeed a continuous starting anew. Moreover, the commitment and love for peace know no fear in the face of apparent defeat. are not daunted by disappointment, but look ahead, welcoming and embracing all situations with hope. It takes tenacity to build peace. It takes perseverance to protect and nurture life. Examine your history and ask yourselves, from where comes that formidable energy that has never left your people downtrodden or without hope? You are a diverse country, a community of communities, united by a common language. I'm not simply referring to the Levantine Arabic, by which your great past has left inestimable treasures. Above all, I'm referring to the language of hope, which has always enabled you to start again. Almost everywhere in the world around us, a kind of pessimism and sense of powerlessness seem to have taken hold, where people are no longer able to ask themselves what they can do to change the course of history. Major decisions appear to be taken by a select few, often to the detriment of the common good, as if this were an inevitable destiny. You have suffered greatly from the consequences of an economy that kills, from global instability that has devastating repercussions also in the Levant, and from the radicalization of identities and conflicts. But you have always wanted and known how to start again. Lebanon can boast a vibrant, well-educated civil society, rich in young people, capable of expressing the dreams and hopes of an entire nation. I encourage you, therefore, never to separate yourselves from your people and to place yourselves with commitment and dedication at the service of your people, who are so rich in variety. May you speak just one language, namely the language of hope, that by always starting afresh, draws everyone together. May the desire to live and grow in unity as a people create a polyphonic voice out of each group. May you also be helped by those deep bonds of affection that tie so many Lebanese throughout the world to their country. They love their origins and pray for the people of which they still feel a part. They also support them through the many experiences and skills that make them so appreciated everywhere. This brings us to a second characteristic of peacemakers. Not only do they know how to start over, but they do so first and foremost along the arduous path of reconciliation. Indeed, there are personal and collective wounds that take many years, sometimes entire generations, to heal. If they are not treated, if we do not work, for example, to heal memories, to bring together those who have suffered wrongs and injustice, it is difficult to journey towards peace. We would remain stuck, each imprisoned by our own pain and our own way of thinking. The truth, on the other hand, can only be honored through encountering one another. Each of us sees a part of the truth, knowing one aspect of it, but we cannot negate what only the other knows, what only the other sees. Truth and reconciliation only ever grow together, whether in a family, between different communities and the various people of a country, or between nations. At the same time, there can be no lasting reconciliation without a common goal, or without openness towards a future in which good prevails over the evils that have been suffered or inflicted in the past or the present. A culture of reconciliation, therefore, does not arise only from below, from the willingness and courage of a few. It also needs authorities and institutions that recognize the common good as superior to the particular. The common good is more than the sum of many interests, for it draws together everyone's goals as closely as possible, directing them in such a way that everyone will have more than if they were to move forward by themselves. Indeed, peace is much more than a mere balance, which is always precarious, among those who live separately while under the same roof. Peace is knowing how to live together in communion as reconciled people. A reconciliation that, in addition to enabling us to live together, will teach us to work together for a shared future side by side. Thus, peace becomes that abundance which will surprise us when our horizons have expanded beyond every wall and barrier. Sometimes we think that before taking a further step, we need to clarify and resolve everything. Instead, mutual dialogue, even amid misunderstandings, is the path that leads to reconciliation. The greatest truth is that we find ourselves together as part of a plan that God has prepared so that we may become a family. Finally, I would like to outline a third characteristic of those who strive for peace. Even when it requires sacrifice, peacemakers dare to persevere. There are times when it is easier to flee or simply more convenient to move elsewhere. It takes real courage and foresight to stay or to return to one's own country and to consider even somewhat difficult situations worthy of love and dedication. We know that here, as in other parts of the world, uncertainty, violence, poverty, and many other threats are leading to an exodus of young people and families seeking a future elsewhere, even though it is very painful to leave one's homeland. It is certainly necessary to recognize that much good can come to all of you from having Lebanese people spread throughout the world. However, we must not forget that remaining in our homeland and working day by day to develop a civilization of love and peace remains something very valuable. Indeed, the Church is not only concerned about the dignity of those who move away from their own countries. She does not want anyone to be forced to leave their country. Moreover, the Church wants those who wish to return home to be able to do so safely. While human mobility represents an immense opportunity for encounter and mutual enrichment, it does not erase the special ties that unite each person to certain places to which they owe their identity in a very special way. Moreover, peace always grows in a concrete living context made up of geographical, historical, and spiritual bonds. We need to encourage those who foster and nurture them without giving in to sectionalism or nationalism. In his encyclical Fratelli Tutti, Pope Francis indicated the way forward. I quote, "We need to have a global outlook to save ourselves from petty provincialism. When our house stops being a home and starts to become an enclosure, a cell, then the global comes to our rescue, like a final cause that draws us towards fulfillment. At the same time, though, the local has to be eagerly embraced, for it possesses something that the global does not. It is capable of being a leaven, of bringing enrichment, of sparking mechanisms of subsidiarity. Universal fraternity and social friendship are thus two inseparable and equally vital poles in everyday society. A challenge not only for Lebanon, but for the entire Levant, is what can be done to ensure that young people in particular do not feel compelled to leave their homeland and emigrate. How can we encourage them not to seek peace elsewhere, but to find guarantees of peace and become protagonists in their own native land? In this regard, Christians and Muslims together, and all religious and civil components of Lebanese society, are called to play their part. and to commit themselves to raising awareness of this issue within the international community. In this context, I would like to emphasize the essential role of women in the arduous and patient endeavor to preserve and build peace. Let us not forget that women have a special capacity for peacemaking because they know how to cherish and strengthen the profound bonds with life, people, and places. Their participation in social and political life, as well as in their own religious communities, represents a factor of true renewal throughout the world, as does the energy that comes from young people. Blessed, therefore, are the peacemakers, and blessed are the young people who remain or who return in order that Lebanon may once again be a land full of life. I conclude by drawing inspiration from another precious feature of your tradition, which stretches back thousands of years. You are people who love music. On feast days, this becomes a dance, a language of joy and communion. This aspect of your culture helps us to understand that peace is not only the result of human effort, however necessary. Indeed, peace is a gift that comes from God and which, above all, dwells in our hearts. It is like an interior motion pushing outwards, enabling us to let ourselves be guided by a melody greater than ourselves, namely that of divine love. Those who dance move lightly, without trampling on the earth, harmonizing their steps with those of others. So it is with peace, which is a journey inspired by the Spirit and causes our hearts to listen, making them more attentive and respectful towards others. May this desire for peace, which comes from God, grow among you. For even today, peace can transform the way you look at others and the way you live together in this land, a land that God deeply loves and continues to bless. Mr. President, distinguished authorities, I thank you once again for your welcome. Please be assured of my prayers and those of the whole Church for your delicate service to the common good.
So with that, we've just heard Pope Leo's first speech on Lebanese soil. And just to briefly mention that at the beginning of this meeting, we saw some images of the Pope watering a cedar tree. And that, of course, is symbolic in Lebanon, known as the Land of Cedars. And with that, we end this live broadcast of Pope Leo's address to authorities, civil society, and the diplomatic corps in the presidential palace in Beirut, Lebanon. Thank you to all of you for joining us, and especially to those of you who are tuning in through our partner stations, EWTN Television, Catholic Faith Network in America, Salt and Light Television, Shalom World Television, Atmadarshan Television, and Catholic Television. And of course, please tune in again to stay up to date with Pope Leo's visit to Lebanon. So until next time, Laudetur Jesus Christus. Praised be Jesus Christ.